Oh, I think I started recording. Oops. Okay. So I am now still in Heart Academy number 10, and this is the section that's going to be on basic dividing and long division. Okay. So, since I'm here on this page real quick, this of course is the My Lab. Yours might look a little different than mine because I'm a teacher. But you go to My Lab under topics. This is where you can find all the videos and the worksheets that I've been doing for the year. Okay. So under My Labs and topics, we got everything that's here. And also, if you click on the Heart Academy number 10, this is where you will find the week review that I've been doing. So you have your videos on reducing fraction, and then you have all the worksheets for all the videos that are going to be there. Right now I'm in the middle of doing the division part. So here's a multiplication table that you can download. Here's the reducing fraction that goes with these videos. And then right now we're going to do the division. Okay, so I'm using this worksheet, then I'll use some problems from this worksheet right here. Okay, so let me go back over to our Promethean screen. Shout out to Promethean, love it. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to the Promethean screen. Ta-da, there it is. Okay, and we're going to remember we are now going to do division. So wrong page, let me give you the right page. Here's your division. All right, so of course, yes, this looks easy. Is this pre-algebra or should be part of exploring math, whatever class of math that you're in? Doesn't matter. We all know that we all struggle with basic facts, okay? And I struggle with basic facts, you struggle with basic facts. Everybody hates division because they don't understand how to do it completely, and they don't understand how to do it without a calculator. And I do not use calculator in my class, says the teacher with a math learning disability. And it's because you need to know this, okay? And what I did on Friday, we practiced our division, and these are the same problems that we had on Friday. I wanted to make sure that you understood the relationship between regular division and fractions, because fractions is division, okay? So what we're going to do here are these problems. And then when I brought this up on Friday and I said, hey guys, I want you to reduce these, solve these division problems, but put your answers in fraction form, people freaked out. Y'all know you freaked out. Cordy, I know you're smiling at me right now because you realized what I was doing at the end of the session. And because I wanted you to see the relationship of the fractions. So I'm going to go ahead and start with number 1. Again, I'm going to use the multiplication chart to help me answer these and to form my complete division answer. So here we go. You're looking at 2 goes in at 18. I know most of you already know that this answer is going to be 9, okay? But I want a complete answer to show all your work. And remember, that final answer, I'm looking for it to be in fraction form. So let's pretend I don't know how many times 2 goes in at 19. This is where you're going to go to your multiplication chart, okay? Let me bring that multiplication chart up. I'm still in my lab. Give me a second. There we go. So now I'm in the multiplication chart, and there we go. So here we are with the multiplication chart. I'm trying to figure out how many times 2 will go into 19, okay? So this is not the reducing fraction way, okay? When I was telling you to reduce fraction in other videos, remember you had to find the numbers in one row, okay? This is different, okay? So don't try to look for 2 and 19 in the same row. That's not the same thing, okay? I'm looking for how many times 2, so just stay in the 2, will go into 19s. And if you can see, 2 will go into 19, okay? Or excuse me, 18, 9 times. That's what I meant, all right? So this is not looking for 2 and 19 in the same row, unless you're using the ones. This is how many times the number on the outside of the house will go into the inside of the house. Outside of the house will go into the inside of the house. So we figure that this is 9. Perhaps you already knew that. If you had turned this in as your final answer, I would count it wrong. Why? Because I'm looking for the steps of long division, because everybody needs that help. So what do we do after here? And this is the part that many of you guys get stuck at, is how to complete this out, because you're so used to just doing it into a calculator and just popping up the number up here. So let me review those steps for you again so it'll jog your memory. So 2 will go into 18 9 times. You then multiply that number with the number on the outside of the house. So 9 times 2 is 18. Okay? You know there's no remainder. So there it is, the complete steps of long division. But remember, I said I would like to have your answer in fraction form. Oh my God, that's when everybody freaked out. So easy though. Remember, just like we did in the reducing fraction videos when we had an improper fraction, this is your whole number. This is your numerator. This is your denominator. Some teachers would take this as a correct answer. I would like for you to get used to doing, if there's no remainder, you have no fraction. So my answer is just 9. That's not going to be the case in this next one. Let me show you what I mean, okay? So 5 will go into 7. You know 5 will go into 7 one time. I know you know that, but let's pretend you don't. Okay, so I'm going to use my multiplication chart. Remember, when I'm doing the long division, I'm not looking for the 5 and the 7 in the same row. I'm just going to go to 5. Ooh, this thing gets on my nerves. I'm just going to go to 5 and see how many times it will go into 7. 5 will go into 7. There is no 7, right? So you have to go to what's close enough without going over 7. That's this. So the answer is 1 time, which I know you already knew, but I wanted to show you the steps and the reasons why. Don't understand the reasons why? Math is going to be a whole lot more difficult, especially as you move on over to the high school. You got to understand the concepts and why we do things. So you realize that 5 will go into 7 1 time. Remember, I want to see all the work. So multiply. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract. These are 2 steps that everyone forgets how to do. Multiply, take that answer, and subtract. Okay? So 7 minus 5. 5, 6, 7. My answer is 2, right? Now put that into fraction form. Again, nothing new. Because if you reduce fractions or changed improper fractions, top-heavy fractions, into mixed numbers, you're doing the same exact thing. And that's why I wanted to show you the relationship of division and fractions. It's the same thing. So remember, this becomes your whole number. This becomes your numerator. This becomes your denominator. Now, remember when we were doing our reducing of fractions, we would check our chart to make sure that this doesn't reduce anymore. I'm going to skip that step because by now you should know that this is not going to reduce anymore. So 1 2/2 is our final answer. Now, here's that eureka moment. You see how familiar this is, right? Because when we do division, 5 will go into 7. It is the same exact thing as this. Okay? I want to make sure you understand that. So when I give you this as a fraction, no one thinks it's hard. But when I put it this way, everyone thinks it's hard. It is the same exact thing. I know you're smiling, Cordy. That's when the light bulb went off with her and she was like, oh my God! Yes, revelation, right? And so now, when you see this, you do exactly what you did up here, don't you? You put 5 on the outside of the house and put 7 on the inside of the house. And then you go through the same exact steps to get the same exact answer. Okay? I hope everyone sees the relationship with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do the next one so we can make sure we understand the steps of how to completely divide using a multiplication chart to help you if you're not good with your facts. So now I'm looking at how many times 4 will go into 28. Use your multiplication chart. Okay? Go under the 4 column. Look for 28. 7, because 4 times 7 is 28, right? So I know that 4 will go into 28 7 times. 4 will go into 28 7 times. Remember, show all your steps. That means you need to multiply. 7 times 4 is, should be 28. 7 times 4 is 28. You have 0 left over. So remember, if you were putting in fraction form, you know your answer is just 7 because you have no remainder. Or, if you put it like this, that's technically still okay. But, especially as you move on into high school, I think you should just keep it as a whole number, okay? Because, remember, you have 0 out of 4, so there is no remainder. So there's nothing left over, so there's no need actually for that fraction because you have 7 whole, okay? Moving on to the next one. I hope you're utilizing the worksheet that I put on my lab that's attached with it so that you can go through this with me. You have 9 and an 18, that's a whole number. 6 and a 36, whole number. 9 and 73, that's not a whole number. So I'm just going to skip down to this one so we can practice the ones putting fractions together, okay? So how many times will 9 go into 73? Using the multiplication chart. Go to your 9 columns, look for 73. See that? It's going to go in 8 times. There's no 73 exact. Remember, this is different than reducing fractions. With reducing fractions, you would look for both of those numbers in the same line. We are now dividing, okay? Same concept, different method, okay? So now what we're going to do So 9 will go into 73 8 times. We can't use this because it's more than 73. So we will say it goes in 8 times, right? 9 goes into 73 8 times. 8 times 9, 72. Remember the steps that everyone doesn't remember how to do. Multiply, take that answer, subtract. 73 minus 72 is 1. Now we have everything we need to put our fraction together. Remember, your answer, 8, is your whole number. Your remainder is your numerator. The number on the outside of the house is your denominator. 8 1/9 is your final answer. And again, just to make sure you understand that relationship, this is no different than problems that I give you in class that looks like this, and I tell you to change it into a mixed number. Okay? It's the same thing, as you can see. So when I ask you to change it into a mixed number, you guys all easily, okay, Mrs. Hart, I'm going to do this because, we already learned how to change these into mixed numbers. We already learned how to change improper fractions into mixed numbers, so I know she's asking me to do this. Some of you struggle with the division part and get lost and start answering what's wrong. That's why I went back and reviewed on Friday dividing skills, because you're going to end up with the same thing. 8, 72, and 1. Okay? That's a 1. Putting your fraction together. All right. So this is what the video will be for the division 1, okay? Or dividing 1 video. The next video is going to have larger numbers in it, such as these, which is also the division 2 worksheet, are going to have larger numbers in it, and I'm also going to do the same thing and put final answers in fraction form. Stay tuned for that one.